All right, welcome everybody to another episode of Whiteboard Wednesdays. Jeff Thomas here representing Invest. And today we're going to highlight Trump accounts. Since the One Big Beautiful Bill passed, these have now become effective as of last month in July of 2026. So getting a lot of questions around here. So I thought today I just mainly hit the key features and benefits so you're all aware where you can access these, where you can download the app, etc. So Trump accounts, you can access information from the Treasury on trumpaccounts.gov. And therein, you're going to see the process to get yourself aligned. They're going to instruct you to download an app that you can access through the Apple Store, Google Store, whatever phone carrier you use, download that app. So what I want to really highlight today is who does this benefit, right? So who benefits? Who benefits? Basically, any child under the age of 17, so less than or equal to 17, right? The reason that's a distinction is because if they turn 18 in the given year, they're going to go back to the year prior. So anybody theoretically under the age of 17, it doesn't turn 18 within the calendar year. So I think one of the best features that has been really highlighted as of late through the philanthropic efforts of Michael Dell and his family is that you potentially, for any child that's born between 1/1/2025 through December 31st, 2028, is eligible for a potential $1,000 grant or seeding of the funds. Great benefit. I always tell my clients, whether it's on the 401k with a match, take advantage of free money when you have it, all right? Now let's talk about how much you can contribute to these accounts each year. You are capped at $5,000 annually. So it has to be less than or equal to $5,000. But let's just say your teenager has a job. Not only can parents, grandparents, relatives, anybody contribute to this, but also employers can contribute if your youngster has a job. Now they're capped at $2,500, and that plays into your overall $5,000 total. So if your family contributes $2,500, and then an employer contributes $2,500, you're at the $5,000. If you don't have a job or if your teenager's not working, then focus on the $5,000. That's what you can contribute on an annual go-forward basis. So once you have established the account through the Treasury, you can roll that to a participating custodian. Now, I know right now it's accessible through platforms like Robinhood. More and more custodians like Schwab, Fidelity, everybody's starting to allow for rollovers to take a shake. So whatever the custodian is, just make sure they have the capacity to roll from the Treasury to that planned custodian. Now, how are they invested? Important question I've got here recently. Everybody's asked, can I invest in individual stocks? Can I invest in whatever I want? No, it has to be specific to the S&P 500 through mutual funds and ETFs, funds/ETFs, or same wrappers focused on U.S. companies. So I want to make that distinction. They're going to be very stringent. I wouldn't say stringent, but basically focus on those wrappers that are tracking U.S. companies or ETFs. Now, when your child turns the age of 18, it rolls to an IRA in their name. Now, everybody always asks, Jeff, how does this compare to other investment vehicles I may be saving for my kid's future? Popular one that comes up is a 529 plan. So think of a Trump account and a 529, they have some crossovers to them. When they get to the age of 18, any balance that's in there, they allow them to be utilized for qualified education expenses without receiving any of the typical penalties you would in an IRA if you try to access those funds before the age of 59 and a half. So the goal of what these accounts are trying to do is to set up the next generation for the long term, right? But if you have qualified education expenses, maybe you didn't set up a 529. They can be used for college efforts to make up any differential in scholarship opportunities or student loans. Also, say they get out of college and they're now doing their first job. They will allow a qualified expense to be used for down payment on their first home. So there are some flexibilities to it, but other than those two specific items, either qualified education expenses or down payment on first home, this is a retirement benefit for the long term. So you have a couple opportunities here with that IRA. Not only can it be used for those qualified expenses, but here is a popular question that I've been getting a lot lately. Jeff, can I roll that Trump account IRA to a Roth IRA? Short answer is yes, you can. If the child is 22 and starting their first job and says, hey, I'm in a very low income bracket, if I take the balance that's in that Trump account at that time in an IRA and I convert it to a Roth, I'm going to pay taxes on that balance as ordinary income in that given year. But here's a tremendous benefit, is that if they decide to do that, either parents, grandparents, or relatives can give that to them in the form of a gift, which individuals are allowed to gift in the amount of $19,000 per individual. So compare, weigh, and measure the taxes on how much they cost. A parent or grandparent, maybe you'll give that in the form of a gift. Now you really have a financial instrument that's really working on your behalf, because all that future growth and accumulation, tax-free, because you converted it early on into a Roth chassis. Now when they pull the money out in the retirement, you owe Uncle Sam, your lifetime business partner, zero, because you already paid the taxes before. So I think there's a lot of tremendous upside. Specifically, all my clients that had children in the last year, or maybe future children that are going to come into the fold, great opportunity to set up a Trump account, because you may qualify for that $1,000 grant, but also maybe pair that with a 529, because here in the state of Indiana, we have state income tax. So any contributions to a 529, you get a state income tax credit. So pairing both of these together could be a great way to plan for college, but also setting your children up for the future benefits of what their long-term success. So again, I encourage you to do your due diligence and look into these, because I'm having that conversation with all my clients and families as of late, with this being timely, coming out in July, now being effective. I hope you take advantage of it. This is Jeff Thomas, another Whiteboard Wednesday in the books, representing Invest. I'll see you on the next one.